I stand before you to recount a historical chapter that unfolded in the year 1939 during the month of January. Although the outbreak of the Second World War was still several months away, tensions were escalating. Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany were on the verge of expansion, with their sights set on Poland. In the midst of this turmoil, Hitler chose to address the Reichstag, and his speech was crafted with the assistance of his infamous propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels.
Wenn es dem internationalen Finanzjudentum in und außerhalb Europas gelingen sollte, die Völker noch einmal in einen Weltkrieg zu stürzen, dann wird das Ergebnis nicht die Bolschewisierung der Erde und damit der Sieg des Judentums sein, sondern die Vernichtung der jüdischen Rasse in Europa.
In his speech, Hitler issued a dire warning about the annihilation of European Jews, a chilling proclamation that would tragically come to pass. The Holocaust, a heinous atrocity, saw the loss of 6 million Jewish lives. However, it is essential to understand that the roots of this deep-seated hatred did not begin with Hitler. Anti-Semitism, the term we use today to describe this animosity towards Jews, has a long and complex history that predates Hitler's reign of terror. To comprehend the origins of anti-Semitism, we must journey back in time. Let us embark on a historical flashback, commencing with the early Roman Empire, before the advent of Christianity. During this era, the Roman subjects were pagans, believing in numerous gods and forces. In stark contrast, the Jews were monotheistic, worshipping a single god. This stark religious contrast aroused suspicion among the Romans, who viewed the Jews with skepticism. To the Romans, many aspects of Jewish life appeared as red flags. They abstained from intermarriage, observed the Sabbath, and practiced circumcision on male infants. In an age where understanding and learning were not emphasized but instead replaced by vilification, any unfamiliar practices became a source of fear. The Romans, unable to comprehend these differences, resorted to demonizing the Jewish population. Roman writings from this period contain examples of such bigotry, with figures like the poet Hinal branding Jews as drunken and rowdy, and Cicero propagating stereotypes of Jews sticking together and having undue influence in assemblies. It is important to recognize that this era represented the birth of anti-Semitism, rooted in a lack of understanding and fear. Tragically, things worsened following the death of Jesus Christ. While historical facts confirm that the Romans crucified Jesus, Christian propaganda concealed this truth for an extended period. The crucifixion was shrouded in myths and falsehoods, with the blame unjustly shifted from the Romans to the Jews. Consequently, Christians propagated false narratives about Jews being responsible for the crucifixion. Such beliefs laid the foundation for a deep-seated religious rivalry between Christians and Jews, a division perpetuated by the Church. The Church disseminated various anti-Semitic doctrines, often portraying Jews as having no purpose other than to prepare for the arrival of Jesus Christ, an event they believed had already occurred. This interpretation deemed Jewish existence as an anomaly, leading to mass expulsions. The forced expulsion of Jews from European kingdoms began in 1290 when they were expelled from Britain. This trend continued, with Jews being expelled from France in 1306, Switzerland in 1348, and Germany in 1394. Throughout history, anti-Semitism was a convenient response to various societal issues. When children went missing, Jews were blamed. When Christians did not achieve prosperity, Jews were scapegoated. The outbreak of the Black Death in the 14th century, attributed to the devil's work by Christians, led to baseless accusations against Jews. They were falsely accused of poisoning wells in Europe, and these accusations, devoid of any factual basis, served as a precursor to modern fake news. This pattern of baseless accusations persisted across history, further fueled by Shakespeare's play The Merchant of Venice, perpetuating negative stereotypes about Jewish moneylenders. The Jews' role as moneylenders was a consequence of Christian refusal to engage in lending for interest during the early days of Christianity. European leaders failed to grasp the economic necessity of moneylending, and their fear and persecution of Jews continued. Jews were often relegated to second-class citizenship and subjected to various restrictions and denials of basic rights. While the roots of anti-Semitism initially lay in religious differences, a significant transformation occurred in the 19th century with Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, particularly the concept of survival of the fittest. This theory, originally applied to biological organisms, was misappropriated to justify racial hierarchies. Some intellectuals claimed that certain races were superior while deeming Jews, among others, inferior and unfit for survival. Charles Darwin's theory paved the way for the emergence of the term anti-Semitism. While previously no singular term had encapsulated this deep-seated hatred, the German journalist Wilhelm Marr coined the term anti-Semitism to define this new form of hatred rooted in race. Tragically, anti-Semitism was responsible for countless atrocities across Europe, such as the Russian Revolution, which resulted in the death of thousands of Jews. Nazi Germany, however, represents the darkest culmination of centuries of anti-Semitism. Adolf Hitler, fueled by his belief that Jews were to blame for Germany's defeat in World War I, initially pursued policies of marginalization. Jews were dismissed from government positions and their businesses were forcibly closed. However, after 1939, the policy shifted from marginalization to extermination. The Holocaust, or what Hitler termed the final solution to the Jewish problem, resulted in the mass murder of 6 million Jews. This chapter stands as one of the darkest and most tragic episodes in human history. Though there have been efforts to atone for past atrocities, anti-Semitism continues to persist. It has not vanished from our world. Recent events, such as the 2017 neo-Nazi march in Charlottesville, where they chanted, "Jews will not replace us," emphasize the resurgence of this deeply rooted hatred. Furthermore, anti-Semitism is frequently used as a rallying cry by far-right leaders in Western nations, particularly during times of conflict involving Israel. It is crucial to note that criticizing Israel's policies is not inherently anti-Semitic. However, when criticism is rooted in race or religion, it can become problematic. In conclusion, we must acknowledge the unforgivable actions of the past and understand that everything unfamiliar or different is not inherently wrong. Instead of stigmatizing differences, our world should strive to comprehend and appreciate them. This is the most fitting tribute to the millions of Jews who suffered. Let us ensure that such immense pain is never inflicted on anyone ever again. Thank you.